Hello and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about Jared Verse, the defensive end from Florida State, in our huge college football preview. It's our host, Mr. Vincent Turner. How's it going, man?
Hey, how you doing this morning, Mr. Long?
Doing excellent. It's an incredible Monday to be talking about football. We love our sport. We love what's happening with it, and we're only a couple weeks away before it really kicks off. So it's an incredible time to be previewing this young man. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm ready to break down this young man's game and talk about how he's made an impact at Florida State University.
Absolutely. Well, for everybody watching the show or listening to our podcast, thank you so much for joining us. And please make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode of 100 Yards of Football. Well, Mr. Turner, tell us more about Jared Verse.
When you look at this young man last year, he came on the scene and he became, I would consider, the hero, the superstar Florida State defense. And you can look how that kind of panned out because Florida State went 10-3, and now everybody's talking about Florida State coming into this season as a potential national champion. But when you think about Florida State and you think about Jared Verse, you think about all the great defensive players that played at the great school down there in Tallahassee. And I'm so blessed that we got one of our own who's part of 100 Yards Football, Delray Beach, Florida State defense, Bobby Butler, All American 1979. And then you think about all the other great defensive players that Mr. Butler set the table for. Reggie Herring, Tad Cody, Corey Sawyer, Derek Brooks, Peter Bower, Renard Wilson, Leroy Butler, Ron Simmons, who was Mr. Butler's teammate on that 1980 Florida State great defense, Paul McGowan, Marvin Jones, Andre Walsworth, then, of course, the great Hall of Famer, Mr. Leroy Butler, Jamal Reynolds. Well, Mr. Verse is now falling into that category as being one of the greatest defensive players that's played at Florida State University after only one season. Think about last year, how the impact this young man made. 19 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, 48 tackles. Then looking at the man's skill set, how he's really made Florida State into one of the top 5, I want to say, excuse me, not top 5 defenses, but one of the top defenses in the country. Effort, A+. Hard, A+. The quick burst off the edge as a defensive end, A+. And think about this. The young man only had one scholarship offer when he came out of high school, and it was at Albany, at LCS school. And I like this skill set that I put on him. He's going to always have a chip on his shoulder. Like a pet bull, he's going to always nag and be upset. That's why if you go look at all the pre-mark NFL draft boards 2024, this young man is a top 5 pick. Then you think about the mindset, A+, the confidence, A+, the leadership ability, A+, the instincts as a defensive end, A+, the tackling ability, A+, and holding a point, a play strength, a playing defensive end, A+. Jared Verse, make no bones, is the best defensive end in college football coming into the 2023 season. So when you look overall and look at all the great defensive players, make no bones, I look at Mr. Verse week in and week out. His stat line is going to be at a high level. My final words today on the great young man, Florida State finest, one of the best defensive players that's ever played at the school, even after one season, is that you better take notice. He might, when it's all said and done, he might end up being one of the best that ever done it at the defensive end position at Florida State University. And Florida State, if he plays at a high level, we might be watching them win a national championship in 2024. I'd like to give special thanks to my producer today who's made it happen, Mr. Jeremiah Long. All I can say is this young man, it makes me feel great about college football. And I know when he watched the video today, he's going to want to be able to go put them pads back on. Number 23. Now, he was 21 at Florida State. Mr. Bobby Butler. The Knowles are back in the house. Florida State. God bless. Here on 100 Yards Football, I'm Vincent Turner. Thank you.